on party work. However, we've taken the decision in principle that this week's press conference will focus on developments at Region 5. And in that respect, we have invited the chairman and some of the councillors from Region 5, the RDC, to address this press conference. The General Secretary will not speak at this press conference. He has ceded today's activity to the members from the RDC of Region 5. And so today is their press conference. So I will pass the floor over to the regional chairman. For a statement which he will read to you, and then you can probably, as usual, ask your questions.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, good morning. Today, I would like to highlight the situation at the Regional Democratic Council in Administrative Region Number 5. The media locally, regionally, and internationally, the residents of Region Number 5 and the citizens of Guyana have all been made aware of the continued disruption of the statutory meetings of the Council. Thursday, the 21st of July, 2016, was the 7th such disruption, this time from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., continuously preventing the statutory meeting from being held and conducting its business. This intolerable situation has seen no incisive reaction from President David Granger, whose honor the unruly councillors are seeking to have untarnished by extracting an apology from me, the regional chairman, for not attending an engagement held in Region Number 5 by the President, and to which all record have shown I was not invited. Significantly, the unruly APNU AFC councillors have persisted in their behavior despite being informed about the negative impact of their actions on the well-being of the residents of Region 5. In this regard, I feel compelled to publicly highlight that the inability to hold statutory meetings of the Council because of the behavior of the APNU AFC councillors have tremendously affected the work of the Council. The consequences has been disastrous on the region, with the Council being unable to deliver with efficiency services to which the residents of Region Number 5 are entitled, including those who have voted for the very councillors whose conduct are causing this unsatisfactory state of affairs. For example, the Council has been unable to excavate and clean important canals, drains, and trenches that comes under its control, which have caused millions of dollars in losses due to floods, and the region has been unable to offer effective assistance to the residents affected by this flooding. The region has been unable to properly monitor the 2 hospitals in the region and the several healthcare centers throughout the region to ensure that they are properly staffed and equipped, and as a result, there have been widespread shortage of personnel and basic drugs at these facilities throughout the region. The Council has been unable to execute its community roads program, and as a result, streets throughout the region have fallen into disrepair and are now in a deplorable condition. The Council has been unable to address the educational needs of the region, and as a result, schools are falling apart throughout the region. The children of Mortis Nursery School in Maikoni had been without a school building for over 2 months. The region has been unable to oversee the award of contracts, and as a result, contracts continue to be awarded without any scrutiny by the council. These are only some of the problems which the residents of Region Number 5 endure daily because statutory meetings of the council are not held. The PBPC councillors are now inviting the media to witness the behavior of the APNU AFC councillors at the August statutory meeting scheduled to take place on the third Thursday of August 2016. That's on the 18th of August. In the meanwhile, the RDC will continue to appeal to Minister Bulkan of the Ministry of Communities, President David Granger of the Ministry of the Presidency to intervene incisively to end this monstrous 7 months long unacceptable situation of the Regional Democratic Council of Region Number 5. Needless to say, we will continue to explore all legal and democratic channels available as we continue to challenge this outrage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Questions?
All right. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I've been following this story. There is the allegation that Mr. Granger was in the area and you refused to be available. Then one of the members said, following a discussion, you agreed to apologize. What is happening?
First, let me say on the day when the President visited Region 5, I was in the Mahaikoni, Mahaika backlands. Farmers, I was meeting with farmers who were affected by the El Nino weather condition. Secondly, at no time I had any discussion with any member concerning or offering an apology.
And what do you see now as the way forward? Every time you attempt to hold a meeting, there is a disruption, no meeting. Is there any way that there could be a solution?
The way forward that I see is unity and cooperation among all councillors within the region.
But then, there is none. I mean, who is going to break the ice? Who is going to make the first step to ensure that this issue is resolved? Somebody got to take a step, either back or forward, and say, hey, we had 7 months of this nonsense. Let's end it. Who's going to do that?
Mr. Harris, who started it?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
No, well, I'm saying to you that those who start the fight, they got to end it. Now, remember Mr. Granger had gone there to hand over bus. That was a political function, as was so described. We have been made to understand that no invitation was extended to the chairman to participate in this activity. What we saw was a program. And on that program, there's no indication of the chairman being down on the program to do anything. So, first it was a political activity to hand over a green and yellow bus. It was not a state function. And so, we have instructed all our regional councillors, including chairman, that whenever there's a state function, they should attend. Whenever it's a political function, they should not attend. These are elected representatives, right? And Region 5 is not an extension of the APNU AFC. So that when Mr. Granger goes, it doesn't necessarily follow that our council will be present for a political activity.
You are the new
Just to add what the GS said too, on the program, it has a political activist who did the welcoming. It has a political activist of the PNC who did the welcoming, and he rightly said that the chairman was not on the program, he was not invited. So if it was a state function, the person who is head of a region or head of that place should have done the welcome and welcome the president. But it was a party function.
No, we've been saying this all along. This is not new. We've been saying this all along. This is not a new line or a new spin that we're giving to this event. We've been saying this all along.
Who using the bus? If it's a party, who using the bus?
Comrade, a party bus painted in the colors of the APNU AFC. Come on, let's be realistic.
Right. For whose benefit?
It doesn't matter for whose benefit. This is not the question we are disputing. What we're disputing was a political function.
So how long are we prepared to have this issue? I mean, the chairman starts a meeting.
That, I think that's a question you should direct to Mr. Granger and Mr. Bulkan. Direct that question to them. We prepare to continue with our work.
How long is the chairman prepared to sit down at the meeting and no meeting going on?
Now the chairman is here, he can answer for that.
That's why I asked the chairman.
Well, as GS said that we are prepared to work.
How long are you going to sit down and have this going on? Yeah, how long are you going to sit down, chief? And let them just break up the meeting. You call a meeting, they break it up, you go home. 7 months this been happening. How long you are prepared to allow this to happen?
Well, I am hoping that very soon we can get this result.
You saw the intervention of the police,
Of course.
and talk to me, what happened then?
Well, the police said that they cannot intervene unless there is some physical alteration in the meeting.
If I may add to what the chairman said, if you read the last paragraph of his statement, he said we will continue to explore all legal and democratic channels available as we continue to challenge this outrage.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing I think Mr. Royan, Shabna Rahman Salafis. So you were saying that one of the reasons you didn't go is because you weren't given a formal invitation?
I did mention in my statement
Yeah.
that an invitation was not extended.
So, then the apology that they're demanding is for you to distinct that you deliberately stay away from the function, even though you weren't given an invitation. Is that what you will have to apologize for?
That is what they are saying.
You see, the way we look at it is this. They knew this was a political activity. Because when you look at the program, it's clearly a political program. Adam, you listen to me?
Yeah, you go on. No, after ask my cameraman if you were shooting. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. They knew that this was a political activity, and that is precisely why they didn't have the chairman of the region on the program. So it seems to me as though it was a setup. They don't invite the chairman to the political function, and now they're using his absence as a ruse to impede the work of the council.
What are some of the works that the council would like to do and I get to do yet?
It's in the statement, Chairman.
No, I come in late. Sorry, all right.
You'll get it on the thing. Yeah.
All right.
Any other question on the Region 5 issue?
Now you recall at the picketing exercise, every time we have a picketing exercise outside of GCOM, the reporter will usually ask, how long do you intend to continue with this picketing exercise? And my response, when I'm asked, would be, as long as our demands are met. Does that sound familiar? Well, in this case, they don't have any demands to meet. Their only demand is that the carnival and the bacchanal in the council must cease so that the council could continue with its work. And it's, who owns the dog, they must call off the dogs. You know that saying?
I hear it.
Good. From the 60s, right?
Way back when.
That's right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no other question, yes, anything else?
Anything else?
Any other question out of the statement? Not for the chairman though. The
Oh,
general
no.
secretary.
The general secretary. And I know we talk about.
Well, no, you can
No,
talk
I
about
just said,
nothing.
I just speak
We
about
make a
that.
no statement.
All right, now we can talk about the current the situation. Now they're accusing opposition leader Mara Jaggi of pushing racism at the Alien reunion in Queens. There's a recording of the statement and the allegation that the government is targeting people of East Indian ancestry, taking away lands from people of East Indian ancestry and things like that. I wouldn't ask how accurate is the statement because the two of us live here. I would ask you about how decent is it to make such pronouncement to an overseas audience?
One thing I can say, Mr. Jagdi is not an indecent man. So, if he's not an indecent person, obviously his statement has to have a high degree of decency. And decency has a strong connection with honesty and the truth. So, Kaicho News, of course, has its own way of describing Mr. Jagdeo.
Oh,
Kaicho gets into everything. So I'm saying that the Kaicho News has its own way of describing Mr. Jagdeo, and some other sections of the media, if I may add. But all that he has said are factual. All that he has said is factual. Every single example that he gave. He has not said anything that is not a reality in this country. And the PPP has spoken about these things too. Mr. Nandalal has written extensively on these matters in the media as well. So all that Mr. Jagdeo has done was to externalize what is happening at the local level. So don't put this headline where he goes to the defense of Jagdeo, because I know how we all stay. No, don't tell me no. I know how we all stay.
We know when we're going to say you defend him.
Right? Well, he jumps to the... Let me give you the headline. Instead of you write your own headline.
No, Jagdeo is a decent fellow.
Yes,
That's the headline.
always.
That's the headline.
The amount of cost you would get.
It doesn't matter. We've been in this thing for years. So,
Shabna.
Yes, so you're saying that there's been an assault on people of Indian ancestry, but have you documented any such assault? Are there any claims to support, any evidence to support those claims?
we have documented the case, for example, with the Amerindian young people whose services as CSOs have been terminated. And we're now in the course of documenting instances where witch hunting the rule of the day, and those most likely will go to the international human rights organizations.
Well, it brings us to the point, a couple of months ago you said that you were compiling a list of all the people of East Indian ancestry who were, your word, witch hunted.
No, I didn't say that. What I said is that we were compiling a list of all the public officials who were dismissed for political reasons. Now, this is now, in addition to that, public servants being dismissed by virtue of their alleged or perceived political appointment or political association. Now, there's a new dimension to it, which is the racial dimension to it.
You're going to release the list of the names you got so far? I mean, you promised a couple of months ago. Even if the list is quarter way done, can't you release those names so that we can represent the interests of those public servants who are disenfranchised?
At the appropriate time, we will shall do so. At the appropriate time, we will do so. How long the APNU, AFC, Mr. Granger not taking to lock up some people where they said they're going to lock up from the moment they got into the government?
It's the court. If they have the power, they lock up already.
No, the court don't lock up anybody. The police is lock up people. Saru and Sanu, or whatever you call it. Soku. So many coups you have.
All right.
They eventually going to be giving us cuckoo.
All right. But Chief, that's not the claim that these people are victimized, these Indian people are attacked. When you can't produce the evidence to support that.
But Adam, you can't say we can't produce the evidence. Listen, we have been speaking about racial and political discrimination. What Mr. Jagdeo has done is to go into the details. In most of our press statements, we've been speaking about witch hunting as well as racial and political discrimination is the order of the day. Now, Mr. Jagdeo chooses to amplify on what we mean by racial discrimination and political discrimination. He's quite in order to do so. The evidence is being compiled, and at the appropriate time, we will release what we have, because it is happening every day.
Chief, it's frightening. You see, I can...
It is indeed frightening, trust me.
I can go back to 92 when I was editor in New Nation. And there was a column in the New Nation then, lean, clean, and mean. And there was a list. And this was prepared 3 months after the PPP came into office. And there was a long list of names. We go in the archives, we can find the thing of people who stepped forward to say, I was... You know
why Nagamoto answered this matter in this way as he did in today's newspaper, the Chronicle, the mouthpiece of the government? You know why he answered it in that way? Because it really hurt them, it hit them hard. What he said, what Jagdeo said.
I'm talking about putting people's faces out there, the names. I have lost my job. I have lost my job. Get the list. I remember I compiled after the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, 120 names, and I put those names out there. And you might remember that. I'm asking you, do the same thing so I can stand up and say, hey, there is victimization indeed. But can't do that because you ain't giving me one name, not one.
Oh, but the name will soon be forthcoming. But all the newspapers, Kaito News, Tabak News, and Chronicle, they have the resources to compile a list too. But they're not going to do that because it's going to embarrass the present government.
You want them to do your work.
No, we are doing our work. I am saying they have the resources too. They have the resources.
So why don't you change the guy around in circles?
No, we don't need to go around in circles. We could do the square.
All right. Chief, give me two names, just two East Indians who were dismissed. Just two names. Two East Indians.
Listen, I don't want to take two names in isolation from others.
Give me one.
You behaving like how we behaved when we went to search ballot and tell them to check just one ballot box.
Adam, you don't know one name. The GS right. There are many names. And
No, I am not going to fall into that trap of naming one name or two names, because if we do that, the headline will be Rohi unable to pronounce names, only one name given.
Well, you might say no, you're unable to pronounce any.
Well,
Many.
I said, what I did say, the caveat to my not being able to give any names now is that I said that the names will eventually be produced. I did say that.
Before I die?
Let's do like the Rastafari, man. Let's do like the Rastafari. So you have a Rasta brother sit down next to you. Bob Marley once said that we must have positive vibrations.
Yes.
Right?
All right, Adam.
Since you are declining to disclose maybe some of the names of the
No, I'm not. That's your word. I don't want the headline to read, Rohi declines to give names. I'm saying the headline must be, Rohi undertakes to provide names.
We said so before.
It doesn't matter. The government minister says one thing over and over again, and you could tell them they said it before too, but nothing is forthcoming. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have an estimated figure of the amount of persons or Indians affected by this allegation of victimization?
Yes, we have, but when we will release it at the appropriate time.
Mr. Rohi, we're not on a headline news channel too. Don't you feel that the...
And by the way, I noticed another headline is emerging. Rohi pressured to provide names.
That'd be nice.
I'm not under any pressure to provide any names. The PPP never comes under pressure to provide anything. We provide it when we are ready to do so, because this is a responsible party. We are the alternative to the AP and UFC, the government. So when we put out something, it must be credible. We don't want Kaichu News or Starbucks News or Demar Waves or iNews to crisscross it or mash it up. It must withstand scrutiny.
You own iNews now, say that word.
What's that?
You own iNews.
You what?
You own iNews. You don't have to worry. It's in your corner.
I don't know about that.
Pass it on, look at your friend.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Rohi, don't you think that you talked about credible names and cross-referencing and whatnot?
Yeah.
Don't you have at least 2 credible names that you think...
I have more than 2.
Well, why can't you give us something? Because it seems like...
I
these
will
statements are being
give,
made and
listen,
The public is viewing it as...
the
being very
People's
personal.
Progressive Party is neither an extension or arm of any newspaper or any news agency. We will provide it when we are ready to do so.
But
Okay?
you've often said
Let us move on.
your supporters
because
are
I-
predominantly Indians.
Listen to me. You are telling us about our supporters?
No, I am stating a fact.
Madam,
Your supporters
Madam.
are predominantly Indians.
madam,
And I spoke to you before about having the best interests of your supporters at heart.
who, you?
And yes,
Your news agency?
Mr. Rohi?
Your news agency is having our supporters at heart?
No, no. I'm
Why don't you
saying
leave that to
I
the
spoke
PPP?
you regarding your party having the best interest of your supporters at heart.
Yes, but we don't need a
Now,
lecture on
this is
that.
this thing is
We don't need to
affecting-
be lectured on that.
I am not lecturing you, I'm stating a fact. If it is that this witch hunting is affecting predominantly East Indians, and that's where your support lies, why is it that aren't you taking it up to say, well, these are at least 2 names that we can provide at this time, because this is not a statement that
When
is
you
being
say,
made once.
you ask a question,
It's being made repeatedly.
you finish?
So from the inception, this thing was brought up, I mean, to now we can get 1 name at least?
You finished?
Yes.
You see, I asked you if you finished twice because I don't want the media to report that I was engaged in a.
Man, you frighten the media more than the cat frighten rat.
So, you're saying, why wouldn't we? Why aren't we? We will.
But how soon?
We will.
Because this is not the first time a statement like this.
We will provide it when we are ready.
Chief, I want to make a statement of follow-up. See, at my age, and I lived through the disturbances in the 1960s.
No, madam, do you want to make a statement or you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question. You remember Hotel Rwanda?
The
massive
movie, yeah.
genocide?
Uh-huh.
People still get in fright for that.
Yeah.
It was statement like those that you and President Jagdi are making
hmm
without substantiation, and there are foolish people out there who believe and react. Are you promoting a situation that we could have a Rwanda.
The media has a responsibility in that respect. It's the media that conveys the idea of and they give the spin to what the politicians say. So I am saying that we have the evidence. We are compiling the evidence. Now, what I've noticed over the past couple of weeks is that we've been issuing statement after statement, but the media or sections of the media are not carrying it. And that is worrisome, equally worrisome, because if we were to issue that information, the media could very well continue with this practice of not carrying it.
You can carry it.
I can't guarantee, I don't know if that could be guaranteed. I don't know if they could be guaranteed because I'm saying I'm looking at a pattern. We've held about 5 press conferences in the same room here. We've issued about 6 press statements on different issues, and there has been a total blackout of these statements. Why? Only the editors of those newspapers can answer it. We, at the appropriate time, will release the information. But looking at the pattern, it is quite possible that in the same way as you're talking about Hotel Rwanda, where people's thinking have been manipulated by the media in that movie that came out very clearly, that could happen here too.
By statements by leaders. Statements by leaders. Unfounded statements by leaders.
You cannot,
cause people to react.
you cannot say with any degree of conviction that these are unfounded statements.
I can.
Because if you want, you can do the investigative journalism. Go to the farmers, go to the sugar workers, go to every one of those areas that Mr. Jagdeo has mentioned, and talk to those affected.
You mentioned no area.
He mentioned the farming community, he mentioned the sugar workers, he mentioned farmers whose leases are being increased, rent, right? He mentioned those in the public service. That's for the journalists to go and investigate, not to ask me to produce lists. You go to the rice farmers, go to the sugar workers, go to the cattle farmers, all these other, what you call cash crop farmers, those whose rents are going to be increased significantly, and find out from them how they feel about government doing these things.
If I tell you that in Region 5, and the chairman knows this, the bulk of the people who lost land in the M&A area were some black farmers, would you say that they are rich hunted too?
Black farmers granted this facility by the PPP government.
Agreed.
No, hold on. And it is because these Afro-Guyanese farmers were granted these leases by the PPP government. They are tainted politically, and therefore, that is why they're suffering by having the leases withdrawn. So it's political.
They're descendants.
It's Adam, you're missing the point. It's political. It's political.
Any other questions? Adam, you can answer more, ask more. All right, let me thank you all, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't.
Good.
You come with the name,
Get off me, man.